Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Nature's Aura, a mod by Ellpeck. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you a little bit about how to get into the mod, how to get started in it, some of your better early game practices, but also I'm going to give you a list of the benefits of this mod and why it's worthwhile to get into it. But before I go too far, I feel I should mention a quick and very sincere thank you to Foxy the Boom Queen, one of our patrons who support us here at the Mischief. So now, let's actually get into this mod. One thing you should know is that I do have other mods currently installed with this, and you may see them. For instance, the wings I'm wearing are from the Wings mod. They are not from this one that I am telling you about, Nature's Aura. And this one, the Patchouli book, is actually an add-on that's required for this mod, and it was a mod added by Bazkey, so that there's like a easy in-game tutorial. So if you guys want to skip the video, you're more than welcome to. You can just check things out in your book here, which is really, really cool. And you can see all the different ways that you can interact with this. I have made a getting to like a first look video of this mod as well, with a few best practices in there, and it does give you the basics on a lot of things, but I will probably be turning this into a multi-part series. So if you wanted to check it out, now that it has been released to the public, you should probably stick around. So let's start off with Natural Aura. Now, there's a lot of reading that you can do in here. Just know that there are a few basics. One, there's Aura. If you look in my top left corner, there's an Aura meter up there. I have an item on me that is currently telling me this. And if you go into some areas, it may be higher or lower, depending upon the different things you have going on in the world. The lower or higher it is, the better or worse the effects are, depending upon what you have. So if you have a really high industrial zone over there that is sucking up all the aura, the nearby aura will try and flood into it as best it can, but it won't necessarily be able to keep up with it, and you might start suffering some negatives. On the other side, if you have a lot of aura being created due to different things that you have in the mod being made, which I will be demonstrating as we go, then it will start giving you benefits. So like things like animals might be automatically breed, or crops will grow faster, things like that. Some of the negatives would be your grass might turn into like dirt or coarse dirt. Your trees might lose their leaves, and in worst case scenarios, you might even start getting explosions in the area. So before I actually start giving you the lowdown on how to get things going with this, how you actually start and so on in the book, which, like I said, you can just click on here and it will pretty much tell you, but there is a little bit of reading in there if you wanted to read it all. I'll tell you the different reasons and benefits for why you might want to get into this mod. Namely, number one, enhanced tools and armor. As you can see, I'm wearing some kind of armor that's equivalent to iron, but can function better than it, as well as different tools that have different benefits. You'll also have those environmental benefits and dangers I talked about, area block breakers and shearers, crushers, grinders, aura energy converters, fast free smelting, area effect filterable hoppers, area block placement, anti-mob spawn in an area, transmutation of some items, anti-large oak trees, and even auto-crafting. There's plenty more than that still, but those are some of the big benefits that I could probably see and why people might be interested in getting into this. So let's start. Finally, Valen, shut up and get things going. Let's get you started off with your introduction here. You're going to want to start making brilliant trees, which implies you need gold leaves. These are going to be ingredients which you will need to obtain by crafting some gold nuggets, some grass that you will have sheared, as well as some leaves of some sort. It doesn't have to be any specific kind, and get yourself a bunch of brilliant fibers. Now, you're going to probably want to make a bunch of these just so that you can spread it out a little bit quicker, but you only ever actually need one on a tree to convert it. Now, this is your average oak tree. This is one that has been converted. Once you've crafted up those grass strands, as you will see here, the brilliant fiber, you just right-click it on a tree. I have one here. Just walk over to it, click, and you wait. It's sort of like waiting for silkworms in a Sky Factory type, or a Skyblock type mod pack. And if you put more of them in a tree, the faster it will go, and you might even get one or two back from it. Eventually, you'll start getting this lustrous glow, which means that it has completed, or at least that leaf block has. Doesn't necessarily mean that the whole tree has. Once you chop it down, you'll start getting a bunch of really cool drops. In this case, I have Ore Excavator in here, so it allows me to harvest a tree quickly. There we go, and you can see I got a whole lot of these little, like, gold leaves, and that's actually what they are. They're gold leaves, so you can use them for such things. And in this case, there we go, you can actually just put them in your crafting grid and get gold powder as well, which acts similar to redstone powder when you start using it on the ground. For instance, if I want to draw some kind of druidic rune, which, yes, you actually will need to do that regularly, so you're probably going to want to get a whole bunch of this. And I recommend that you do this with some bigger trees, if possible, or just a whole bunch of trees, because you're going to need to do this. You're going to need these for multiple crafting recipes. Your beginning stuff here is going to be getting you a lot of materials. So other materials that you may need, one of which is going to be bottled sunshine. So let me grab some of these here. Bottle and cork. Recipe is just glass bottle with a little bit of wood. You want to put it in here, and then you just right click and you get yourself a bottle of sunlight. Now, yes, you can just automate this. I mean, these are just empty bottles right here if you really want to. And it works in the Nether for a different kind of result, where you'll end up getting bottled souls, or even in the end where you get bottled darkness, as one might expect. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. But these are primarily a crafting recipe, and you may be needing those to make other items. Now once you've got that, you're going to want to make some of your basics for aura production, so that if you start using up the aura, it doesn't just get too low or broken or anything like that. And that is going to involve you making one of these, an ancient oak tree, which they're very pretty. They've got a wonderful little sparkle about them. And they also have an effect. When I look at the leaves here, if you see I have a bauble on me that's allowing me to see these different things, it will actually tell you that some of these ancient leaves have different meters on them. What that is those are basically eating the toxins in the atmosphere and trying to keep the aura around at least a level state. As you can see on the top left, it's currently at the middle mark. So to make some of those, you're going to need to make these wooden stands, and wooden stands are made with just some kind of log plus some of those gold leaves that you might still have left over, and you want to place them in a circle. Now in order to figure out how best to place this, you're going to want to use your book. So if you go here in your natural practices chapter, you will see a ritual of the forest. This basically tells you how you can set it up. You click the little icon here, you can then actually put a transparent view of what it looks like just by right-clicking. It will stay there. Now I still had the book in my hand. I could have chosen something else in my hand. But you can see there's like slightly transparent blocks, and if you hover over it, you can then see what the item is that is needed. So you don't need to actually look at the little tiny images in the book anymore. You can actually see it IRL and kind of, well, I guess in world, and figure out what the items are that you need to put in each of these places. Now if you don't want that there, you can then just click visualize again and it goes away, and you can replace it to a different spot. For instance, let's put it here, exactly where I've got this set up, and you'll see the only thing that's missing is some kind of sapling. Now in this case, I actually need an oak sapling for the ceremony I'm about to reproduce, and that's going to make more of these ancient oak saplings. You'll also notice that there's a bar at the top. As you place things down or pick them up, you'll notice that it goes up and down. This tells you how close you are to completing the task at hand. There we go. Now I just need a sapling, which I have an extra one of. Put that in the center, and it's complete. Hooray! Now what do I do? Well, in order to make one of these saplings, in my Creating Aura chapter, I will need an ancient tree, which requires all of these ingredients somewhere on these, basically these wooden stumps. And it doesn't have to be in this order. It just has to have them somewhere around it. And the center sapling may change depending upon the recipe that you're using. In this case, though, an oak sapling is what I need. Now, I could wait for nature to take its course, and that involves just sitting here waiting. Or I could use a little bit of bone meal and speed things along. Now, what this does is this will activate this as the tree grows by itself. It will then use up all the ingredients, and it will start converting the central sapling into the item that you desire. In this case, an ancient sapling, which these are really cool. Like I said, they're pretty. They give you a nice wood with actual like different types of bark variants. You get a pink block as well. In fact, let's put one over here, and I'll get a little bit more of this bone meal. There we go, and it grows up quite nicely into a very big pink bushy tree. I actually really like the sparkles, and they're just really nice in general. And those will help you to combat any kind of toxins in the air, or at the very least, keep it at a neutral level. So now that I've talked about that, let's actually talk about using some of this aura that is all around us that we haven't even gotten to start using yet. We're already maintaining it, but yet we haven't used any. Well, that's probably a good thing that you have something that's going to maintain it first. But you can always try skipping by and seeing what you can get away with. But anyway, let's try setting this up. We're going to want to make a natural altar, which, as before, is in your Book of Natural Aura. If you look here, Harnessing Aura, it's here, the Natural Altar. Click, and you can visualize this as before where you would like it to be. Now, in this case, I'm just going to make it go away. There we go. I don't want that there because I've already placed it here. Now, keep in mind that most of these things are automatable. You can actually have access to this underneath. So if I were to remove this, there we go. It's currently got a hopper underneath it, which is being fed into a chest over here. Excellent. So what good is a natural altar? Well, once it's in place, you should start seeing these blocks glowing out here, which are going to involve golden stone bricks. Well, how do you think you make golden stone bricks? Oh, I wonder. It's going to require some brilliant fibers on stone bricks. That's pretty much it. These are more materials that you're going to want to use. And once your setup here is complete, again, you should start seeing the sparkles showing up on some of the stones nearby. You're going to see more sparkles the better off it is and everything. But still, you can start seeing that it's like sucking the natural aura into this area, which is probably going to negatively affect some of these trees. You can see this one here is already missing some of its leaves. It's because they've decayed away and started being eaten. So you're probably going to want to regrow these. Now, if you do want more of those saplings, you can actually chop the tree down or let it degrade by itself, and you should actually get some saplings over time, and then you can always replant them as needed. So, as this is replenishing its own natural aura in there, you can start putting things in there, either one by one. Now, I put a hopper on the side of this, or you can actually hopper things in. So let's start with some stone and some iron. So I've got a stack of iron and a stack of stone. Now, the stone isn't actually going to do too much. Put one on here, and when it completes, it'll automatically drop down below into the chest, and it will finish infusing this into a better, well, stone crafting material. Now, if you want, you can also put something like iron ingots on there, and these are going to be used to make your different armors and weapons and tools. You can also put an entire stack in there, and it will just constantly keep on feeding out. Like I said, I've got just a bunch of hoppers underneath here. So as they change to the next item, it will basically get, dragged out immediately. So rather than just constantly keep draining the aura in this area, as you can see, the aura around is actually relatively low now. We're down to about a quarter instead of about half. You're going to want to keep an eye on that. You don't want it to get too low. But you get infused iron and infused rock. So as long as you've got a bunch of these saplings nearby, you should be able to keep up with it okay for starting out, but you're going to want better methods in the future. So infused iron and infused rock. These are going to be more basic building materials along with some of the ones you already have, like your gold leaves, your wooden stands, your bottles of sunlight, and so on. So what can these items do? Now, obviously you're going to want to make some of these infused iron with ancient wood rod. Wood rods are made from ancient wood slabs, which of course are made from the appropriate ancient log trees that you might have been growing nearby and are rapidly decaying due to your use of the aura nearby. So things like the botanist shovel. This will convert things that are dead of dirt into things that are living. And if in an area, will actually convert a large area for paths or small ones if you hold sneak and right click. Now, also you have a botanist pickaxe, which if there is a something that can be turned into a mossy variant, it will actually do so by right-clicking. I don't actually have any nearby. Let's grab a piece of cobblestone here. I'll just put this down on top. If I right-click with my pickaxe, it turns it into the mossy variant, just like that. Botanist Blade gives a slow effect on enemies that you hit with it, which is extremely effective, especially for creepers, spiders, zombies, just about anything that's attacking you. You have the option of getting away or at least keeping them slowed, which is pretty nice. Botanist Hand Axe is much more useful than before, where yes, it's used to chop wood or do a good chop on your foes. It now will harvest leaves very quick and easy with almost just a simple click. Botanist Hoe will, as you would expect, hoe things. But if you use it to hoe dirts and other items, you might get extra things like regular seeds or just a random array of seeds from any kind of environment around you. There we go. I think I just got some melon seeds. So no longer do you need to travel thousands of blocks away to find the seeds in a jungle or something like that that you might need. Now, the armor and the tools are all enchantable, as you would expect in here, but they're enchantable at about an iron level in my experience. Now that could be different, but I did do some level 30 enchants. I got Fire Protection 4, Respiration 3, Unbreaking 3, Protection 4, Protection 3, Unbreaking 3, Protection 4, and this is after re-rolling it a bunch of times because I've got a lot of mods in here. But just to give you an idea of some of the enchants you can get on there, standard, or might have the option of getting. Now, this will give you an actual set bonus. So if you have some spider friends coming in and they are going to be attacking you, let's just pull out the sword, poke at some of these guys. They're going to actually start getting wither and thorn effects on them, or a wither-like thorn effect anytime that they attack and hit you. So therefore, they're basically killing themselves. It's a slow process because it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does give you that extra little bit. Now, on top of that, if you have that going on, you may also be able to, let's get some more spider friends in here, use some other items. For instance, there is an Amulet of Wrath. This is made with the diamond boots, some infused rocks, which, yes, they're very OP because they resemble clay. Iron ingot, TNT, and so on. It will get you this. What will it do? It does some really cool stuff that is fun, in my opinion. And that is actually the thing that will give the withering effect to enemies when they attack you, if you are wearing an Amulet of Wrath with an aura cache, which is made with infused iron and infused rocks, more OP factor, which will require an aura cache. Now, an aura cache, I have one here that is only partially full. If you look, I put it on the bottom here. There's actually a little meter down on the bottom there. If I take this off, I can actually, once made, refill it at this same spot. Let's put it in here. It'll recharge, drain from the aura, and because I have it automated, it comes out at the chest at the other end. Otherwise, it'll just stay here until you grab it again, and then the altar itself will replenish. Now, I can put this in a bubble slot, same as with some other things. Aura of Wrath allows me to do a little extra attack on top of that, provided that it has power. And that is to jump up and down and do a smash attack, like this. Basically using up a bit of aura and doing a little bit of a ground pound. Now, I have to be holding still. If I'm moving when I'm doing this, it doesn't work because I'm walking forward right now while sneaking. But if I hold still, I start doing an area effect ground pound. It's not very damaging, but as long as you're not getting hit, you're constantly doing some cool damage at the cost of a little bit of aura that's stored in your aura cache. Now, I recommend you also make, with a Ritual of the Forest, an Environmental Eye. This will give you an idea of the aura around. And then later on, you can upgrade that to what I currently have, an Environmental Ocular, which is a little bit more expensive. We'll get into these details, but that'll give you just a little bit more expanded view of those meters. So, now that you've got a lot of gear that is pretty darn good for you, what good is it? Why don't I just switch to diamond? Because this stuff you can auto-repair. If you have an aura cache on you, it just has to be in your inventory, I believe, and not necessarily on your baubles area. If you sneak while holding any of these tools, it will repair, and my armor is fully repaired now. So it's just repairing the shovel, and then it takes a few seconds. I can repair the pickaxe, repair the blade, the hand axe, and so on. So it's just really good for auto-repairing stuff. And you can see it's barely using any of the aura cache. that I currently have on me, which is really, really nice to have auto-repairing tools and items that can give you some better benefits than your standard iron that are just a lot of fun. So let's talk about a few other ways that we can use the aura besides just infusing items and tools here, and that might involve an extraneous fire starter. I've got one over here. This is going to be your basic entry-level item. Now I have it on top of a furnace. It doesn't have to be on top of one. It can be next to one, in front of one, underneath, whatever. So you have a lot of modability for how you want to use this. But the basic idea is you have to make this by going into the nether, getting some bottled ghosts with one of those empty bottles with a cork in it, repeating the similar ritual that I showed you earlier, and you'll get one of these. Then you can put it anywhere you want on here. And if you want to, you can put things in here and it will just automatically start cooking them at the cost of a bit of aura in the area. And it actually goes quite fast, if you notice. That actually is not a sped up time lapse. This is just doing it as fast as I'm talking right there. Got 2 pieces of coal. Excellent. And that's somewhat free, provided that you have enough aura. Now, if you go a little crazy, obviously you'll start seeing some degradation. You might even start making these things go a little bit too nuts. Like I've got like a creative setup over here that's constantly feeding in a lot of items that are kind of questionable. We can turn this off, wait a few seconds, and you can start seeing the aura being used by all these things right now. I had some cows in here at the beginning of the video. They died because they started suffering from breathless effects because there's too much of this and not enough aura being made. Now, there are ways to offset that, and not to worry. We can take care of that in the future. Especially with something a little bit better than these. Oh boy, looks like that breathless effect is still extended way over here. Now, to give you an idea, that is my industrial zone that I have using up everything. The breathless effect extends to about where I'm at now. Maybe a block or two closer or further away. So that is about the distance that your negative or positive effects can have in your area. So you're going to want to be very cautious about that. But still, one extraneous fire starter shouldn't really hurt too much, especially if you're, not using it all the time. You're just using it for what you need, and it's pretty much good to go. Now, there is something that I can recommend at a starting level that is going to help you out, and that is a canopy diminisher. Now, this may, this is just my portal to the nether down here. This may end up helping you a little bit. Right here we have a canopy diminisher. This here, once crafted up, you just place it down and then you grow a bunch of oak trees nearby. And I'm sure people that have played Minecraft before, you're familiar. You start growing oak trees. They don't all start this size. Sometimes you get ones that are like mammoths and very difficult to actually grow. Well, the canopy diminisher actually will take advantage of those that try to grow like that and stop them from doing so. It will make them all smaller style oak trees. And if any of them do try to grow to be really big, it will instead use that to increase the aura around you. Now I have some of these imperceptible builders, which are made with an infused iron, dispenser, and a hopper. Those are currently, if you place one, it doesn't have to be on top of it. I just have it placed here with a frame and what you want items to be placed on top of in a frame here. This is very similar to a Botania effect. I've got oak saplings in a chest on top. This will be placed on grass blocks because that's what's in the frame on here. If you want more things to be selected, you can put them on more frames on the side. It accepts a redstone signal and will automatically start working unless you currently have it turned off, like I do. Now, with a canopy diminisher, I just decided to place it underneath it because, well, I just wanted it to be there. But once I start this, it will start placing these saplings in a large area. Now, if any of them start growing, actually I'm going to stop that and grab some bone meal, start growing into large trees, the aura around us would actually shoot up, and therefore we would gain a boost of aura instead of our standard stuff. Oh, looks like I've got some stuff in the way. There we go. I just had a few of them that just launched in a row. That actually worked out pretty good. And you can see that up here, the aura actually went up a little bit just from those 3 trees that tried growing into large trees, but instead just grew into a normal sized tree. Here, let me remove the leaves here for you. There we go. And you can see that there's just regular standard oak size trees instead of the super large ones. And it gave us a boost of the aura nearby. Now there is one more item I should probably tell you about, as since we're covering most of the materials that you'll be needing in this mod, and that is going to be this, the offering table. This will allow you to get some special items. By placing it down, you'll actually need to put it in kind of an altar setup. If you look up offering to the gods, which if you're confused about where to find any of these things, there is an index in here and you can just kind of scroll through it, look through them alphabetically, and then you can actually choose them if you want. And you'll need to put some kind of flower setup around in this circular pattern. Obviously, as before, you can click to visualize, put it down if you so desire, or just cancel. And this works to take items that you want to put in it and sacrifice them for a better good. Now, in this case, I'm going to recommend you take at least increments of 3 infused iron. I have 5 here, so just to show you, I should get 1 result and 2 ingots back. Put them in here, and you're going to want to put a specific item in it. And that's this, Spirit of Calling. If you take some bottled sunlight from the overworld, some bottled ghosts from the nether, diamond, 2 infused ingots, you'll get 3 of them. Now you only need to use 1 of them, and you can throw it on top of this, and it will work. Now in this case, I actually hooked something up to drop one in place. And then you look up in the sky. There we go, and we got a single ingot of the skies. This converts 3-to-1 ratio, so let's get a whole bunch more. Now in this case, I have 64 blocks of infused iron. Let's throw those in there. And we're going to toss 1 of those Spirit of Callings in there just by doing so. Now you can just hand toss this in there, but like I said, I don't want to get zapped by lightning. So as you can see, the blocks don't work. So you're going to want to make sure that you're using something like ingots, and it only takes 15 at a time. It's not going to take all of them. And then it'll drop a new one in place. That gets zapped. And then you got to look to make sure that it's going to rain. There we go. Get ourselves, I only have 1 ingot of the skies now. I run in here and I can pick up and get 4 more. And yes, I still had 1 left in there. Because it takes, I think it takes like 16 or something like that. I could take a whole bunch in there, but I mean, seriously. You don't really need to constantly keep doing it. But you will be able to use Spirit of Calling just by taking some of these infused iron, putting a bunch in there, and getting your money's worth for it. Just by tossing it on top, if you can. I need to actually toss it on top there. As you can see, it's not really that dangerous. And there's still 1 left. And then you get the remnants falling from the sky. It's pretty cool. Ingots of the skies. And they can be used for a lot of different things, which I'll be covering in future videos. That's right, this is just getting started on this and getting you into it so you can get yourself a little bit equipped with some tools, armors, and some of the materials and machines, at least the base creation mechanics. And then you can get into a lot further development of this mod. So I look forward to doing more of this. Probably do another one tomorrow. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll get through enough. Maybe I'll have to split it into a 3rd one. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. So, you know what to do. See you guys next time.